What's up guys, Chris here, and we are back for some more F1 2019 League Racing. And we're here at Monza in a Ferrari for round 14 of F1VL. And going into this race, I just won Belgium the week before, and obviously not the way I wanted to win with the time penalties. So coming to this one, I really wanted to just set the marker and win on track, but we actually lag while getting a tow from Peter in qualifying on my first lap. So we go deep into the corner, and obviously my line is compromised coming out of there, so that is not ideal at all. But we're going to keep on board for the rest of this lap. And just a little side note for this race. Going into this race, I had almost no practice coming into it. Maybe I did a couple of time trial laps, but the day before I didn't even launch my computer, so compared to the other people in this league, I was hideously underprepared for this race. So it was not going to be easy to take the win, especially against people like Seb and Kaim who are practicing for hours a day. As we actually go wide for a Ascari, that is not the line that you want to take for the fastest possible way around there. But we're not going to give up on this lap. This is, in a way, a banker lap because it's very easy to crash out here in qualifying at Monza, especially for Ascari. So we want to just get a lap on the board. And that lap on the board is going to be a 120.0. 6 tenths away from pole, who is currently Seb. As we go a minute later in qualifying, and here's Rakus actually in front of Rhapsody, and then his game freezes, and the next thing he knows, himself and Rhapsody are in the wall. So that is not good at all for the Finn as we go into my second lap. And we're obviously losing time on the straight, but we're going to gain it back again in the braking zone, and because of the lag spike that I didn't have on this lap. And as you can see, after the first chicane, we're already 3 tenths up on our last lap. So already this lap is going a lot better. And Kaim is still in first place. Or he's actually taking that off of Seb and going for the second chicane just after the first sector. We're already a second up on our last lap, which shows just how much that lag spike put me back. And coming for the second Lesmo again, are we going to lose the rear again? We do a little bit. We have to do a little bit of counter steer to keep the car in check. But coming into Ascari, one of the hardest corners of the game, and going in here, losing the rear, going in there, losing the rear again, losing the rear again. It's a very tough corner to get right on this game, and I found that out the hard way many times in practice. But still, coming out of the Parabolica, foot to the floor now. It's just all about the power unit coming to the line. I actually take a big risk and go super close to the pit while going to the line, and it is provisional pole. It could have been invalidated by me doing that at the end there, but you know, I could have gone again anyways. So coming on to my last lap of the session now, and we're actually behind my teammate Pandolf, so might get a bit of dirty air, but we're also gonna rely on me being faster than him to get a tow at the end of the lap, because we're actually both on flying laps right now, and what I'm relying on is me closing in on him near the end and getting a tow down the back straight, as we are using all of the track that we can, obviously playing on regular corner cutting rules, going for the first level Lesmo, actually understeering a bit and going a bit wide, going for the second Lesmo, a lot more in check than the last lap, and hopefully Ascari goes a little bit better. We're actually 2 tenths up on our previous best, and going into Ascari now, we actually get another warning, losing the car again, but we have actually kept level with our other time. We're still 2 tenths up, and coming into the Parabolica, I believe we're getting a little bit of a tow from Peter ahead, so this should actually help us out as we go on the AstroTurf, or not the AstroTurf, but the green bit on the runoff.
Yes! Yeah!
And being on pole for the first time in actually quite a few races, definitely that was something that I needed today. And those are the qualifying results. Myself in first, Kaim in second, Seb in third, Penna fourth, and Sven on the medium tires down in 7th place. So he's actually going to have to comfort the field a bit on those medium tires.
Feels good to be back on pole.
He is running a different strategy to everyone else, so we'll see how that pans out for him as he goes to the start of the race. 1 light, 2 light, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. And we actually get a really good start. We put it in standard and high ERS, and we're just streaking away from the field. As we go into the first corner, we actually go a little bit deep into the first corner, but that is what happens. You know, I thought there was going to be a collision on the first corner. There was actually further back, but we weren't affected by it, luckily. As going into Della Raggio, we're going to switch to my teammate, and he's actually at a bad start. He's actually dropped 3 places down to 7th, and he's going to try to make it back, going onto the curb, locking up and hitting Car Freak, and he's actually spun, just like Sebastian Vettel last year in Monza. That's unfortunate. But on lap 2, we've already got a 2-second gap over Seb behind. So this race is already going well. It's actually harder to do a race controlling it from the front than it is to hunt someone down on the back. And I was actually told after the race that Seb and Kaim were actually doing a little bit of a DRS tow to try to catch up to me. As we go into lap 3 now, we switch to Rikus again. And going into turn 1, he can't get the car stopped, and he rear ends Rhapsody and loses part of his front wing. So that's very unfortunate for him. He's going to have to go down the escape road and lose even more time. But we keep on increasing the gap on the cars behind. And actually coming out of Ascari, we notice there's a yellow flag, and it turns out Warwolf is actually retired for the session. Really unfortunate for him. He was out for a few races, and would have been nice for him to be in the points again, but he ends up being the first DNF of this race as we keep increasing the gap. It's now 5 seconds behind us, and my plan was to just break the DRS, because as I saw in JD's video, DRS is so powerful here, and we are sliding around quite a bit in Ascari on these worn tires, as Panoff is actually getting overtaken by EP Life and Keon. Keon goes into the corner very deep, and he goes off the track, so he loses out quite a bit in that exchange. But now Peter is towing EP Life, going to the second chicane, and he goes around the outside this time. He went around the inside of Car Freak. Let's see if this goes a little bit better for him. He leaves the room on the inside, goes over the curb, and actually hits EP Life off the track, and in a very gentlemanly move, he lets him back past after the chicane. And now on lap 11 I pit. I was originally meant to pit on the lap later, but I decided to pit on this lap because my tires are just absolutely going off. And we actually don't get held up by a Seb behind us, so it's going very well for us so far. Panoff has actually pitted 2 laps before us, and he's going onto the hard tire, so he's going to be going to the end. But his game actually crashes coming out of Parabolica, and super unfortunate for him. He can get back into the session, but he will lose some time on cars ahead due to the AI only being on 60%. As we go back to my footage here, and there's Decker letting us pass. Very nice of him to do. He didn't need to do that because he ghosts, but very nice of him to do that. As we go into the second chicane, Rhapsody actually beats our fastest lap from the beginning of the race. So my fastest lap actually stood all the way until lap 18. Rhapsody beat it on the soft tires late in the race. He set a 121. And going into the second chicane on the very next lap, and actually cutting the curb a lot and losing the rear end quite a bit. And that was a very scary moment. And later that lap, we actually cut the chicane quite a bit, and another warning at this rate, and I will be getting a penalty, as we lose the rear end of the car again and a lot of lag, and that has been a problem area for me all weekend. The second chicane, very difficult. As we could see, Rikus at the second chicane spinning around. He gets it going again before we catch up to him, so good thing that he didn't cause a safety car or anything, because a safety car for me at this stage would have been the worst thing. As we actually go onto the gravel again, losing the car, and I'm gonna hand it over to Kaim and Seb.
Voi ți-a păstrit acolo?
Chiar s-a băgat în mine, l-am filmat. Oh, ce prost. Mi-o dă sau? Mi-o dă sau? Nebunul cum s-a dus. Mamă. Stai că mă așteaptă, mă așteaptă, mă așteaptă.
Vedeți că vă prinde Chris, proștilor, și vă vede.
Și vezi ce-mi faci.
Dar cine-i mă, Chris?
Fii atent ce face, mă așteaptă și o să-și dea în mine. Uite! Să-și ce banii dau, doamne.
Chris e admin, bai.
Oh, ce-am dat seapă! Am trecut pe lângă el. Uite!
F1 2019 Battle Royale, mă
Uite tot Ascariu! Uite tot Ascariu, ești prost! Tot l-a tăiat. Fii atent că vine acum în parabolică.
Battle Royale.
Mamă, m-a băgat în parabolică în zid. Aoleu.
Eu dat retire. Bă, ți-a dat retire?
Da, mi-a dat retire.
Ma.
So that was quite interesting from Kaim there. He was actually battling for the podium positions early on in the race, but that was not the way he wanted to end the race. As we come around the final corner, we've had almost no issues this race.
Yes! Get in! Oh! Yes! Yes, man!
And you can see how much that means to finally win again. My first on-track win since Silverstone. And I'm absolutely over the moon to win with Ferrari at Monza. By that gap, with the amount of practice that I had going into this, very, very unexpected, and honestly, possibly my best league race win ever. So, that's myself in first, Seb in second, Salva once again coming in third place. And yeah, it was a very unexpected pole position and race win. And after the race, I was just completely elated. And yeah, very, very good win. Next week is Singapore. I've never league raced there before in my life. And there was other race results, and you can see how many penalties everyone got. Ironically, I'm not one of the people who got a penalty, despite me being called the Cut King by Sven. But that was F1VL Round 14 at Italy. Hope you guys enjoyed this sort of different style video. We did not have a commentator for this race, so this had to do. He will be back next week. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.